Welcome to the Begin With Yes Show with your host, Paul Boynton.
Hi, welcome to Begin With Yes. I'm Paul Boynton, and it's great to have you with us. You know that feeling when you're going up the roller coaster hill, the first hill, clunk, 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 and you're going, oh no, what have I done? Because you know there's this big hill waiting for you going down. That's sometimes how I feel, and I think maybe Andrea's feeling that way, our guest today. But I'm so excited to welcome Andrea to the show because we had a chance. I actually don't remember when we first chatted on the phone, but it was a while back, and we met through the Begin With Yes Facebook page. And when it came time to begin the new Begin With Yes TV show, Andrea agreed to, she said, I'm going to begin with yes. And she said, I'll be one of your guests. And so, Andrea, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, do you feel like you're going up that hill on the roller coaster, or are you already on your way down?
No, I'm coming down now.
Awesome. You're going to be shocked at how quickly this goes for you and hopefully for the people watching. Andrea is a fascinating person, and I think one of the beautiful things about the Begin With Yes page is that we get both a sense that we're all in this together, and we're all dealing with changes and challenges, and we have good days and bad days, and many times good years and bad years, and even good cycles and bad cycles, but we're all sort of in this together in some very strange way. And so we get to seek help when we need it, and we get to help when we're in a place where we can help each other. And that's one of the beautiful things I think about the Begin With Yes page, and I bet Andrea feels that way too. Andrea, I'm going to ask you to just give people watching a bit of a sense for your story and your history so that we can talk mostly about what's going on in your life now, but to really appreciate that, I think it would help if people knew a little bit about your history. Would you mind doing that?
No, not at all.
All right. Take it away.
Thank you. So I came to find the Begin With Yes page on Facebook when I was going through a really horrible divorce. I tried to surround myself with positive Facebook groups, with mom groups, with reading positivity books, and doing a lot of self-development and self-help. I came to the Begin With Yes page and put it at the top of my page so that every day and every night when Paul posted something new, it would pop up first. And that's kind of what started my journey into knowing that I'm not in this alone. And then just cool little things like reaching out to other moms on mom groups who were going through the same, or who had a really good experience leaving a divorce and coming to a new marriage, and reaching out to those moms who were already on the other side. We needed those stories, and we needed to connect and be vulnerable about that. So that's kind of where I started my journey.
Andrea, did you, and we don't need to or want to necessarily go into a lot of details, but were you in a difficult situation for a long time or short time? I mean, how much time did you spend wondering whether you needed to do something and being afraid or feeling stuck, or it didn't make sense from a logistical way? I mean, how long were you in that place?
I met my ex-husband when I was 17, and we got married when I was 21.
Okay.
It was a very long relationship, and I grew exponentially during that time. And unfortunately, he didn't grow the way I needed him to grow. We have a 5.5-year-old daughter, and when I had her, that kind of started to really make me realize that I needed to do better for her, and that I wanted better for her, and I wanted her to travel more, and I wanted her to see more things and experience life. And then I started this business. And I really got around all these inspiring women who raised me up and lifted me when I was down and showed me that there's this whole entire world out there that I had no idea about. So I started to say yes, which is kind of ironic because your Facebook page is Begin with Yes. But I read Begin the Year of Yes. And then I read this great article by Mark Manson, which is basically, it's a yes or a no. It's pretty black and white. Mm-hmm. So I started living my life like that. What we were going to do, we were going to travel, is it a yes or a no? And I just started saying yes to things that I thought were scary or challenging. And I made a 2018 goal list, and I've been checking them off one by one. I have done a 5K, which was totally out of my comfort zone.
Congrats on
I'm
that.
doing this now,
Yeah.
which is totally out of my comfort zone. And I became the horse girl that I've always wanted to be. And my daughter and I are at the barn constantly. So all these things were scary to me, and they were the things that I really wanted to do, but I never thought that I could.
Do you remember like a turning point? Do you remember a moment, and maybe there aren't moments like that, but do you have
No, there is.
There is? Okay. Could you get into that a bit?
Sure. And it's funny because of all the people that I've spoke to about this or who have come to me with their stories, they've always told me there's a defining moment too. We had a huge disagreement one night, and then the next morning I woke up and said, I never want to feel like this again. And I realized the only person that could change that was me. So I started taking actions to never feel like that again.
And I would be shocked, and in fact, I'm certain that there are people watching this right this very second that are saying, I know what that feels like to be at that place of recognition that I just don't want to live my life like this. And I've talked to some people, Andrea, where I feel like they've stayed in that place for a very long time, that it was like a acute awareness that this is just not what I want or what I need, or even most importantly, what I'm here to do and be. But they stay in that stuck place. Do you have a sense, or can you think of something that you might offer as encouragement to people who are feeling like that and have been in that place for a long time?
Yeah. I just started to say, do one thing, even if it's something so simple as, reading one positive quote a day, or taking a 10-minute walk, or just trying to do a 5-minute meditation or a 10-minute yoga. Something so simple for you, because once you start doing things for you, you realize how important it is to fill your heart and feed your soul. And then everything else in life just starts falling into place when you get out of your comfort zone and start doing the hard things. Because in reality, we can all do hard things.
I think it's so, I don't know, it's exciting for me to hear you voice that, because Begin with Yes, a lot about the book and the message of Begin with Yes is those small steps, and the steps can be so small. They can be like, take 1 minute, look for one positive quote, go outside and take a deep breath and pause for a minute. It's the steps can always be so small that no matter what your circumstances, you can manage one small step. And if you just take one small step a day, at the end of a week, you've taken 7 small steps. And those 7 small steps begin to add up and become more meaningful. And you actually begin to, you set emotions sort of an evolving, a coming alive sometimes, a movement within yourself that becomes very significant and easier. If you take one step, the next step becomes a little bit easier. Not always, and there's definitely highs and lows, I think, in these kinds of passages that we all go through. but it's.
I call
it's
that
the,
a cha-cha.
Okay, it is the cha-cha. That's a great way of describing it. So it's not like this straight path forward, but what I say over and over to people: if you're doing something, you're not stuck. Even
Right.
if it's looking for one small positive quote and letting that in and believing it, and even if you can't believe it, hearing it, and then eventually you get to a place where you begin to believe it. And so those small steps are incredibly important. How long have you been on your own?
It's been about a year.
Okay.
And we had a lot of changes in that year. So it's been difficult sometimes with a 5.5-year-old and, managing it. But in the long run, it has taught us both so many life lessons, and we've grown stronger. And it's incredible what you can do when you really put your mind to it.
I mean, I've had that experience myself. And especially when you have children, you have to ask yourself, if I stay in this situation, what am I teaching my child about staying in a bad situation? And on the other hand, if I find the courage and the way to move forward and out of a difficult, not right for me situation, what am I teaching my daughter? Do you feel like you're a role model for your daughter?
I hope I am. I'm not always perfect. But I really thought about her a lot when we were going through this, and I needed her to see what love looked like and what it didn't look like. And we talk a lot about that, that love is patient and love is kind and love does not boast and it's not angry, that, love is action, and that you can walk away when people aren't showing you the kind of love that you deserve.
That whole concept of I'm not perfect is like, but that's the human condition, isn't it? It's like we are not perfect. It's
Right.
like,
Nope.
and like I think back on my own life and my own career and learning how to do the things that I've learned how to do. You never begin being, you never get to the place where you're perfect, but if you want to be a good writer, you have to almost be a bad writer first. I learned more about writing from someone working with me on my writing that wasn't very good at all. And it's sort of like that's how we learn. And so if our goal is to do anything perfectly, we're really just playing a game with ourselves, and we're setting ourselves up not to move forward, because you can't. Right. Moving forward means moving into territory that we've never gone before. It means being scared. It means being uncertain. It means being confused. It means wondering if I made a mistake at different points in your life. And so I think the whole notion of being perfect is one we can just throw out the door right away. And if you find yourself saying,
right.
I didn't do that well, at least you're doing something, and that puts you way ahead of anybody else who's not doing anything. Right?
Absolutely.
So where are you now? What's going on in your life now?
I'm just enjoying life and doing the things that I've always wanted to, and saying yes, probably way too much, because I'm really busy and we're never home and we have no schedule. And to talk about being perfect I'm a hot mess mom. I mean, we fly into school 20 minutes late almost every day, but our bellies are full and there's a lot of love, and we're at the barn running around with horses, and we're golfing, and we're enjoying deep conversations with friends. And yeah, it's pretty full and fun.
Did you have anybody during the challenging time before you left that encouraged you to not leave, or were you surrounded by people that were encouraging you to make good decisions for yourself?
Most people who knew my whole story encouraged me to leave.
Okay.
There were a few who said, no, Andrea, you have a really great life, and you have a dream house and car and money, and you work part-time and you're going to homeschool your daughter and everything looks perfect. Most people would really want that life. And as soon as they said it, I knew that it wasn't for me.
So even though they might not have been trying to encourage you, that sort of reinforced what you knew in your heart was right. And it sounds like you also had people around you who were cheering you on and encouraging you and saying, you know, you need to do what's right for you and for your daughter, and probably ultimately for your former husband too.
I'm so blessed and so grateful for the friends and family I have. I honestly don't know what I would do without them.
Andrea, you're at this place now in your life where I'm wondering what are some of the things that you hope to make happen in the next 5 years?
Ooh, that's a tough one, Paul. I have a lot of dreams and things that I'm working on and big projects. One thing is I'm going to this amazing leadership training with John Maxwell in August.
Okay.
So for speaker training, and I'm doing that with a bunch of friends, and it's going to be awesome. I have built this business with this great company, and we have our convention in September in New Orleans. So just these are little snippets of this year. I'm always doing something, and it's always around inspiring people. So I'm sure there's going to be plenty more to come in the next 5.
You know, you've done, I can't believe, like when we spoke early in the week getting ready for this, you said you were nervous, but you're such a natural at this, and you have such an important message to share with other people. And I think that I love multitasking. I love having lots of things going on at once and taking small steps in a lot of different directions. And for mostly, it's fun for me. Sometimes I have to ask myself, how much fun do you want to have, Paul? But it sounds like you're at that place too.
Exactly.
As we leave this conversation, I want you to, if you would, speak to the people who, especially the women who are on the Begin With Yes Facebook page, who are right now where you were a few years ago. And what did you hear from your friends, and what could you share with people who are listening right now that are feeling like they need to do something? What would you say to them?
So much. Just breathe and follow your gut and start doing things for you, little things that get your mind right and get your mind quiet. I started meditation and yoga, and it was by far the best thing that I've ever done, by advice from a friend. But you have to get your mind quiet, and you really have to sit with yourself and figure out what you want to do with your life and where you want it to go, and if this is a situation you want to be in or not. And I also started church, and that has been huge for me. So just these few things, I really would have to tell anybody who was in that situation to just start those little things, and then just have faith that it'll all work out. And really call up your friends, because those are the ones who really pushed me and helped me get through this.
You know, I know that there are people listening right now who just heard those words, and you've just inspired people that you will never know about, and you'll never know how many people you've inspired, but you've done that right this very moment, and I think you're remarkable, and I'm glad that we're friends on Facebook, and I'm glad that we're now friends. This seems even more real to me, so I'm glad you're in my life, and we'll keep talking with you and watching you grow, and thank you so much for getting on that roller coaster with me today.
Thank you so much, Paul. I'm blessed to have you in my life.
Awesome, and thank you for being with us for Begin With Yes. I know you're on our Facebook page, and I know some of you are thinking, I want to be on that show too. And you know what? You can, because no matter where you live, whether it's Australia or Italy or Florida or California, anybody that can Skype can be on the show. And so if you want to, go on the roller coaster like Andrea did, just send me a note at paul@beginwithyes.com, and we'll chat and make it happen. So thanks for being with us today, and we'll see you next time.